Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and the podcast. Now, as soon as I went on air there, weather alert has just come up, so I feel like I should have a look at that. Here, well, it's showing a map of Lisbon, yellow alert, yellow warning, and looking out the window, I can confirm that it's looking rather, well, very dramatic clouds in the sky, looking rather inhospitable. I shall be I delayed the dog walk this morning until after the show. How are you this morning? How was your weekend? Do let me know in the chat. And also, if you've got any pictures or videos from your weekend, thank you very much, Anna in VRSA, for sending me a video already on 913-590-303. We had a pretty amazing weekend ourselves. A lot of the action, a highlight really on Friday, going to the Donna Branca Pizzeria in Caldas de Rainha, which... Thank you for that, Pete. I just caught that out of the corner of my eye. Fantastic. Not literally, thankfully. Donna Branca, which has some interesting meanings. Portuguese people will understand that. A fantastic pizzeria. We met Tiago. Oh, yeah, by the way, I met Tiago at our gathering, our meetup, our Wednesday meetup, the fourth Wednesday meetup, which is at the Storytellers Palace. Now, Tiago and Dulce turned up and got chatting about his fabulous hostelry, his pizzeria in Caldas de Rainha, and finally managed to get there on Friday. Now, before I change this picture, if you want to come and join us for lunch on Wednesday the 28th, it will be a pre-leap day luncheon at the Storytellers. Very interesting menu. Just drop me a line if you haven't already. I know I've received some RSVPs already, but drop me a line if you'd like to join us for that. Things going very well actually with the WhatsApp. We have an umbrella WhatsApp group with all the little subgroups, and that's a lovely bit of technology. So thank you very much to Ben Austin for organizing that for us. So maybe see you on Wednesday. Yeah, and on Friday we went to Caldas de Rainha, as you can see here, and let me just take you for a little walk down the street here. You might know this clock tower behind the hospital, near those very distinctive pavilion buildings that were on fire last year, and everybody who sees the pavilions in Caldas de Rainha thinks to themselves, wouldn't it be amazing to renovate those and turn them into some lovely accommodation or a hotel? People have been thinking that, I think, for decades now, because they've been empty for a long time. They were on fire last year, like the Park Hotel here in San Martino de Porto. You walk down this street here, and it's very well hidden, Donna Branca Pizzeria. This is the interior. Look at that, lovely. It's a beautiful building. And the connection between this place and the pavilions is that they have an architect in common, Senor Rodrigo Burquo, designed these buildings and had them made, and really enjoyed this place. Not every Gumper has enjoyed visiting Donna Branca from, if you don't like pizza, you're a bit stuffed there, but we left stuffed for a different reason. Really enjoyed the sourdough pizza here at Donna Branca. If you like your pizza, a little bit different, and you don't mind sitting on a wonderful refectory style table, not on the table, obviously around the table, and there's the wood-fired oven at the back, incredible decor, and some lovely food, if you like this sort of thing, with a Musa craft beer brought up from Lisbon, of course, there. I had the Blondie Ale, an American IPA there. Very nice indeed, and some little bit of ham to start with there. Beautiful sense of detail, exquisitely created food. If you're into your pizza and sourdough pizza specifically there. And I'm going to show you in a little while. We went across the road, across the garden from Donna Branca. There's Mrs. M and the kids. To the other end of the garden where there's this most amazing bar. And I'll play you the video of that bar in just a little while. But let's just check for a moment and see who's with us this morning on this Boa Segunda, where we'll have James joining us at 9 for a bit of Mindful Migration Monday. And live from the United States this morning, Bob and Viv. We've already sent a few pickies in as well. And actually, I should just send them a check, because sometimes it goes a bit wonky, doesn't it, with the time zones. So I'm going to just send them a quick message. Just say, you okay? See you in about an hour. Okay, so just doing that. You okay? See you in about, sending text live on the Good Morning Portugal show. 50 minutes. 50 mins. Okay. Yeah, joining us from the United States, Bob and Viv, this morning. So how exciting is that? Morning to you, Jacqueline Branco. Good morning from a windy Gaelish. I think you enjoyed our chat with Richard Allen. Isn't that amazing what's going on at the Prohibition Bar and what to do when the music, well, when your knees are louder than the music? You turn the music up. That's what they'll be doing at the Prohibition Bar. Fantastic to catch up with Rich on Friday and seeing the progress over there. Bon dia from Sarah. Great to see you at the weekend, Sarah. How are you doing this morning? I mean, I think quite a few people are having a duvet day today. It's one of those sort of days, isn't it? And we've had a very busy weekend. And today, it would be nice if this was Saturday morning. You're just able to take it easy this morning. And many of you are. Those of you who can appreciate this meme, which I'll be sharing with James earlier on. You know that awful feeling you get on a Monday morning when you realize there's a whole week of work ahead? I don't. Isn't that a lucky little kitten there? And good for you if you could say that as well on this very windy morning, certainly in this part of Portugal. Loads of memes stacked in there to share with you this morning. That video from Donna Branca Pizzeria in Caldas de Rainha. Well, actually from the Burquo Bar, which is what I've called it. I don't think it's officially called that. And a lovely video from already this morning from Anna in USA, Sweden, Portugal. Jackie's in, Sir Lion H is in. T-Duck, look at T-Duck here with a deep thought. No way. Have you chosen GK Chesterton? Me too. That's incredible, isn't it? Here's a little bit of ahead of that then. My favorite Chesterton idea from Jash Delani. This is a screenshot from Twitter, X. Funny that we should both pick up on some Chesterton wisdom this morning. My favorite Chesterton idea is that you don't need the middle path, but a marriage of extremes. You need to be intensely invested, yet totally relaxed at the same time. This is quite the paradox, isn't it? Hate the world enough to change it, love it enough to consider it worth changing. Isn't that incredible? Not balance, but insane juggling. And there's a few insane jugglers here. Of course, there are among you gumpers here. In a good way, in a very good way. Okay, and back to what? 7:53 this morning. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz segunda a todos. Como foi o vosso fim de semana from James. I haven't done an elephant in the room linguistic foray for a little while, James. I have to get back onto that. And you were in at 7:53 with a mindful moment that you can share for yourself when you arrive, and some visual memes as well that we didn't manage to get round to on Friday. We're on the air for nearly 2 hours on Friday with 7 guests. I think that might be a record. It was a great show on Friday and very well watched as well. All the numbers are going up. So thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Good Morning Portugal breakfast show every weekday morning. Nice start to the day, I would like to think. And more of you seem to agree. Coach Turner was in at 8:03. He had a busy week, didn't he, last week? Bon dia todos. A new week draws forth. Wow. He sounds like he's stepping up to the pulpit here or in Parliament. Friends, Romans, Hertfordshire people. A new week draws forth, and we have had a couple of granddaughters staying overnight. So the busyness continues in the Turner household. They're up rather earlier than me. So Mrs. T has been on duty since 6:30. I'm off for a quick shower, bit of peace. God Squad tip of the day then from the coach. Balance, whether it's eating v fasting, drinking versus abstinence, exercise Abstinence, what does he speak of here? Exercise versus rest, or just not falling over. Well done. Finding the right balance for yourself is key to a long and healthy life. Well said. So I thought we could explore some of these aspects of balance and see what works, at least for me, starting with eating. Never been a great one for breakfast, but that used to be a time issue. These days, I don't have that problem. But a couple of years ago, we decided to cut out breakfast altogether and eat lunch around midday. More and more people are doing this, I think, Coach. There's a lot of conditioning, isn't there, in how we eat? And I think the food industry has played a part in that, how and when we eat. This idea of breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince and dinner like a pauper. That's been spun around in many ways, isn't it? And a lot of people are on the 1 meal a day thing, which I think is fascinating as well. Yeah, so much of this has come from indoctrination and conditioning, I think. And when you really think about what your body needs, I think it changes like you're doing here. Dinner, we normally eat around 6:30, so that's early. Not very Portuguese. You'll be struggling to get dinner in Portugal at 6:30. You have to eat a few slices of ham in your hotel room. Or cheese if you're in Portugal and you want to eat dinner at 6:30. This certainly helps us, continues the coach, maintain a healthy weight. We still occasionally eat in the morning, particularly if we're away. And I've been eating a bit of porridge myself in the mornings, but I felt that that's like a bit of a detox thing. Those oats, dredging the line of my intestines. But I won't go into too much detail about that. You don't want to hear that this or any morning for that matter. We still occasionally eat in the morning, says the coach, particularly if we're away. So we're not religious about it. And maybe that's the balance. Yes, well said. As soon as it becomes fanatically ideological, takes the blimmin' fun out of everything. If not, becomes ineffective. Something for you in terms of balance then. Well done, T-Duck, for sending this in. T-Duck's got an ingenious way, thinking of you, coach, of storing. When out on his bicycle, he's found a very good way of stowing his nutrition whilst out and about on his bike. Look at that. Staying hydrated and donutted as well on his mountain bike by the look of it. Excellent. Well done, T-Duck. More from you to follow. And any comments about balance there and what people do for breakfast, let us know. That'll be wonderful. T-Duck was in at 8:23. As melhores, T-Duck. Thank you so much for providing these this morning. Great to have you back in this capacity. Bom dia, alegria, Gumpers. And good morning, coach. My favorite workout is jogging. My memory. Very good. And a deep thought then, carrying on with the GK Chesterton theme, which was entirely coincidental. Gilbert Keith Chesterton. What great names. Gilbert Keith Chesterton was an English writer, philosopher, Christian apologist, and literary and art critic. Has he been cancelled at all? Is there anything he said that's had him cancelled? There can't be many people of history who haven't been around now, right? By somebody. Deep thought. There are two ways to get enough. One is to continue to accumulate more and more, and the other is to desire less. Buddhistic G.K. Chesterton, a Christian apologist, but sounding rather Buddhistic there. There are two ways to get enough. One is to continue to accumulate more and more. The other is to sounds like somewhere in central Portugal, doesn't it? Ferrere to desireless. The other is to desireless. You try saying it, man. G.K. Chesterton there. Excellent. Dad jokes. We'll save those for later. I know Bob likes those. And it's always good to see the look on Viv's face as well when we do the dad jokes. They're joining us live from the United States. Mrs. M in the studio. Good morning. How are you? Oh, lovely to see so much of you this morning. How are you? Yes, I will. Why are you not speaking? You don't want to ruin the coffee. Will be lovely. Thank you so much. It's a bit of a coffee morning, bit of a duvet day, Mrs. M. I'd grab a coffee and get back to bed if I were you. Right. Bond. That's not an invitation. I'm busy. Bondia Gumpers. Sir Lion H. Nice to see you here this morning at 8:30. Bon dia all from Jackie the Humble Crafter. Still got video to come of the bar, the Burkwell bar, and Anna in the Algarve and USA sent us a lovely video as well. Tudo bem from Peter, Bonnie Pete, and Bon dia Portugal from João Denor as well, bellowing from Ponte De Lima this morning. And Carl, I sent you a message on WhatsApp a few days ago. You didn't answer. Did you change your number? No, I haven't changed my number. 913-590-303. Sorry, I thought I answered that on the screen. We are still intending to come to Braga in May. Was that the message, Sir Lion H? Looking forward to seeing you then. Yellow warning is not as bad as brown. Very good, Pete. And Jacqueline's a bit windy this morning in Gaelish. Charcoal tablets, Jacqueline. And Owen, bon dia, como está todos? Good morning to you. Did I say it in a very British way? Todos. Como está todos? Good morning to you, Owen, and thank you for letting me take advantage of your timeline over the weekend. A little bit of a to and fro with Dougie. Morning, Doug, as well. Bon dia from rainy and windy. Michael's suffering a bit from wind this morning too. Miranda de Corva. Greetings from the Algarve. Well, you know what? Paul, you're not windy like everyone else here this morning. Greetings from the Algarve. Welcome rain during the night, but sunny now. That's the best way to do rain, is it not? Is to have rain in the night and sun in the day. Nice and sunny here, says Pete, which is great as I'm ploughing my furrow. Is that a euphemism, or is he actually ploughing his furrow? We plough the fields and scatter the good seed on the land, but it is fed and watered by God's almighty hand. If you just joined us, welcome. And Peter, you can be singing that. Did you teach at any schools, Pete, where they sang hymns like that? Ploughing the fields and scattering then this morning for Pete. As soon as Max arrives, keep that rain away. Is Max who's Max? Is he your farming buddy there? Or has he got your ploughing attachment? And who doesn't like a ploughing attachment first thing in the morning? Nice one, Pete. Good luck with that. Send us some pictures. Will you have a massive flock of seagulls following you up and down the field? Great news on the health front. Drinking coffee officially makes you live longer. However, I don't think it works quite in the way that the more you drink, the longer you live, Pete. A lack of joy, veganism has the opposite. Peter, live and let live, my boy. Come on, leave them, let them be. Bon Dia Alegria watched the semi-finals of Eurovision de Canción on RTP Play last evening. How was that? A lot going on in my part of the world. And for instance, lovely video in from Sweden, Portugal, Anna, which we'll play for you now. Thanks for this. 913-590-303 is the number to send those pics and videos to. Cheers, Anna, for this.
Okay, well.
That's Canaveral Seashore. Not the keen-eyed among you will have seen that is definitely not. Is this it? Well, let's find out by pressing play. Goodness only knows what this might be. I hope this is the right video this time, Anna. For you, here we go. Let's see. Oh no, it's processing, and it's real. You should see this rain outside the studio. Not only is it going at 45 degrees, it's going in two different 45-degree directions right now. Good Lord, it's incredible out there. That's a big eye-watering video you sent me as well. I think a couple of minutes from. If this is the right thing. Let me just give it a quick play and see. I'll leave it playing if it's the right thing. Otherwise, I shall hastily withdraw. Hold on.
maior tempo de vida é meu conselho de as pessoas são parvas. É mesmo dar uma escola. Uma grande
That was made by CapCut, or with CapCut, made by Anna there. You gave me a right old shock in the middle of that. Do you know what? Suddenly when that smooth jazz, Fender Rhodes started playing in the middle there, I think that's what it was. I thought Jazz FM was coming through on my Bluetooth connection. Didn't quite know what was happening there. Kept me on my toes there, Anna. Thank you very much. And I think in the original message that you sent, you said something along the lines of there's something always going on down there in VRSA. Certainly looks like it. How lovely the traditional brass band sound there, marching band, and then a nice little Beetlebug festival there, and a few other bits and pieces in between. So thank you very much, very thoughtful, and thanks for putting an edit together like that. Sent in on 913-590-303. We've got James joining us at 9, and we've got Bob and Viv live from the United States in about 40 minutes or so. I think in Florida this morning. We shall find out when they join us. So I've got a video to share with you as well. Thank you for your continued comments. Pam's in this morning, and Alison as well. Bon dia from Pam, and bon dia people from Alison. I have to turn up the volume to hear you, Carl, over this howling wind and rain in San Martino de Porto. Absolutely right. We have to turn up the music to cover up the sound of our knees on the dance floor on Friday. And this morning, we're having to turn up the Good Morning Portugal show to be heard over the wind and rain. Yes, I said if you want to send me to send you some hotel, absolutely. Send us some, please. Do start the recommendations for Braga. We're looking to be in Braga. Let's have a look. Traditionally, we like to be in a city for the Discovery Weekend on the second weekend in the month. So that would be the 11th and 12th. Anyone interested in coming to Braga on the 11th and 12th of May this year? So yes, Sir Lion H, please give us some details and put your number on the screen now. We don't have to wait till, if you want to go to Braga before May, Sir Lion H will help you up there with, not like help you up there, like a leg up or give you a lift. But once you're there, or if you need any recommendations, he's our man in Braga. So put your details in the chat. Sir Lion H, and let people know what it is you do up there. Looking forward to hanging out with you in May. So I've got my video of Burko's Bar to come. We've got Diane in Devon. Good morning there, mate. How you doing, my darling? Good morning, Carl, from Diane in Devon. Hello, good morning to you. How lovely to see you here this morning. And Anna, thank you for that video. And how are we doing with? Are you enjoying the songs of the Eurovision? How's it looking with Portugal's contender? More talk about breakfast and balance when it comes to eating. I usually have oatmeal with blueberries every morning, but dinner at 6:30 is too late for the tea. Dougie's in, the aforementioned. Bon dia to every gumper. Every gumper this morning. Doug is saying hello to each and every one of you. Coach from João do Norte. I try to follow a similar eating pattern. My small breakfast, the breaking of the fast, is at noon, and then a dinner at 6. It's similar to intermittent fasting. It's similar to intermittent fasting. I imagine there's a bit of intermittent fasting going on as well among you gumpers. It's similar to intermittent fasting since there are 18 hours between dinner and the next meal. Right, for Paul Richards, for proper breakfast bacon and Tommy sandwich. Forget this airy-fairy food. Hairy-fairy. I mean, it sounds like that might be quite a nice way to have your breakfast, is to have a hairy-fairy bring you your bacon and tomato sandwich, in case anyone's wondering. Oh, and when it comes to British things, breakfast, etc., do you have any condiments on there, Paul? Because this thought has flashed across cyberspace. Has anyone lived long enough to buy a second bottle of, and I'll help you Americans out here, Worcestershire sauce? Some of you cheat, I know, by calling it W sauce. Has anyone lived long enough to buy a second bottle of Worcestershire sauce? There's usually just a crusty one, isn't there? So quite a few of these condiments in bottles. It happens with the peri peri. You get a little bit of a crust around the neck, don't you? Which is putting everybody off their breakfast right now, I suspect. So yeah, any condiments on your bacon and Tommy sandwich there, brought to you by a hairy fairy in the morning. Paul, loving the old hymns. Well, you're very welcome. Should we have hymn of the day? Shall I do Bread of Heaven tomorrow? Did I just hear someone is from Miranda de Corvo? Absolutely, that's where the wonderful Tia Filomena is from, and of course Michael and family. Michael, who's here this morning. Casa Barton is in Miranda de Corvo. Would you happen to know what villages the new tram station will be situated? That's the area I'm looking at for property. That's a really good move, actually. I think anyone moving to Portugal who would like to live in the countryside but have a good connection to Coimbra is advised to live in that valley. Michael might be able to help you there. Pete has, when he's ploughing the field and scattering, he has flocks of blue magpies and hoopoes religiously following the tractor when we plough. Max is a godsend neighbor who helps me with the tractor, among many other things. Weirdly, as soon as we cross the border into Spain, you don't see any blue magpies. Wow, how does that work? Bye, Randy. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for your suggestions on Friday. Did you do any of those, Bye, Randy? What have you been up to this weekend? And we'll come back to more of your chats in just a moment because I've got a video to play. Oh, we've got to say hello to Jim White. Morning, Jim. How are you? Tudo bem? Bom dia a todos. And HP Sauce, Houses of Parliament Sauce. Has that not been cancelled yet? It should be. We need democracy sauce. That be real democracy sauce. RD rather than HP from where it takes its name, Paul? Okay, here's a video for you. We'll be talking to James after this. Treasure that we've just discovered here in Caldas de Rainha. This is a bar venue. It's actually an annex of the Dona Branca pizza restaurant that we've just been to, which is also amazing in its own right. And that's a separate video. But look at this ceiling here. This is incredible. The architect is Bercois. Apparently, the last king of Portugal used to come here. He had a palace over the road, and he used to come here and was with the family, who I think were lawyers in Caldas de Rainha here. And you can see this is a venue at the weekends where there's going to be live musicians, and there's also DJs on a Saturday. Look, if you just look through this window here, you can see this incredible clock tower that was recently renovated as well here in Caldas de Rainha. Look at this, by the Termas hospital here, which would have been a very popular spot for people to come to from all over Europe, I think. And of course, the Queen came here and loved this city and made it Caldas de Rainha. Of course, the Queen loved this, the medicinal properties, I think, of the town and the spring and the thermal baths here. But look at that, isn't that incredible? And we're going to walk through into the bar area now where Mrs. M is with Tiago, who is the man behind this. Look, Tiago is here. And let's go and order a drink. Look at this. Look at that bar. Isn't that incredible? Superb. What are we drinking today? Some Moe and La Fée. I've not seen that before, but that's quite... Oh, absinthe. Oh, it's going to be a messy weekend, isn't it, in here, I think. Look at that. What a fantastic bar. Incredible place. Look at that. Oh, that lovely little drinks trolley. It's quite incredible here. Superb. I'm going to give you another quick look of the out the window here because it's so beautiful. This part of Caldas is extraordinary. Look at that. Time and tide wait for no man. That's the clock tower, which tells us, I think we've got to get a move on. It's, what sort of clock is that then that's pointing to 9 o'clock? It's not actually 9. It's the afternoon here. Or have I been drinking absinthe already? And it's messed with my mind. Anyway, saying goodbye to you from Caldas de Rainha. Please come to this amazing venue. Open on Fridays and Saturdays at the moment. And check out Dona Branca Pizza just across the way on the other side of the garden here as well.
Bom dia!
Bom dia! Oh boy, chapeau!
There was so much interest in the hat, I figured I would surprise everyone today.
That's wonderful. You sound. Looks like you might be going outside. today. Then is that right?
It looks like that, and I will be actually, but not with the hat today. It's very cloudy.
Well,
and I'll point out
fantastic.
that this is the hat underneath the hat.
Well, I was
That's-
wondering there how this happens. Are there just more and more hats? Is it like Russian dolls?
No,
There's
no,
just
that's
like-
the last one.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's my
serious-
beach hat.
Very good. A hat for all seasons. Very good. Very, very good this morning. Thank you for being here. Hola, bon dia. ¿Cómo estás? And you're looking very fetching. And thank you for modeling the hat, which is as famous as you are, I think, around the world.
Obrigado. See, it's my not a cowboy hat is what I'm calling it now.
Do you know that's such a good bit of branding? If a company wants to start making them and calling them not cowboy hats, I think that would give them some pretty good attention. And you're very happy to be the poster boy, I think, for this particular range. Colleen is a fan already,
Thank
as
you,
is Jim.
Colleen.
Love the hat. Looks a bit Aussie, and love the hat. So James, this is Colleen as well. Very good.
So
And
did I. It's why I bought it. It's got a nice brim. It actually covers my neck, so when the sun's coming, anyway, it's great for being out in the bright sun.
It ticks a lot of boxes. It ticks a lot of
Yes.
boxes. Now
Covers a lot of the face.
right, bump into things when you're walking down the street. Right, I saw this and thought of you, James. And you know that awful feeling you get on a Monday morning when you realize there's a whole week of work ahead? Nope. I don't. Welcome back to Monday, James. How you doing?
And I'm so grateful to be able to say I haven't had for nearly 20 years.
Isn't that great?
Because the profession I chose, I loved waking up. I get to go to work today was how I felt, not,
yeah.
You know, and now that I'm mostly retired, it's even more of that. So
yes, you're a lucky man. You're a lucky man.
Very
to be
grateful.
I'm not only lucky, but very grateful too. That's, I think, an important part of the equation, isn't it? Superb. So, how have you been? How have you been on this coincidentally a weekend? Not that bothers you either very much. It's just a convention that other humans take part in. It would seem.
Yes, the weekend was, excuse me, calmo y tranquilo.
Good. Muito bem. Muito bem. Oh, I've got that. We've got that. We've yet to add it to the jingle board, but we have got an official muito bem from Philomena. So that's going to be that's in the pipeline because we love to hear those reassuring words.
And I found out today because I was like, "What is Portuguese for peaceful?" And my DeepL translator came up with Pacifico. I said, "Oh,
yeah, that's interesting,
okay, so the Pacific Ocean is the peaceful ocean. I never knew that. All right, good to know." But I said, I don't think that's the one I'm familiar with. So then I looked up just peaceful and it gave me tranquilo. So again, language is like,
yeah.
what do you choose?
Well, there are some very interesting little coincidences. Look,
Well, that's one of the no, that was this morning on Facebook. That's what it was. I thought it was one of the visuals I sent to you. So T-Duck and I are on the same page today. It showed up as a memory on Facebook for me.
Yeah,
every sea in Pacific Ocean is pronounced differently.
These
are the things I say every time I want to get mad at Portuguese. I remember I speak English.
Yes.
You know, it's like, it's not just Portuguese. It has all these things. Every language has these kinds of things. We just don't realize it because we're used to it.
And I was sending a message. Oh, it's to Gabby who invited me to the Frequency Lounge. That was very calm and tranquilo over the weekend. I went to this on Saturday afternoon in San Martino de Porto. And I didn't get to try the Healy World technology. Others did there, other friends. And it was amazing looking out at that water. It was almost like mini Nazaré out there in San Martino de Porto. But I did get chatting to Hans Flecker, who was there, who's a jazz pianist. His work is on Spotify, and I would recommend it to you if you like a bit of jazz piano and a bit of Fender Rhodes that I mentioned before. And I sent a message to Gabby last night thanking her for the invitation. And I said, oh, it was great to meet Hans. We really hit it off. And I was thinking to myself, literally, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? Hitting it off with somebody. And it's what you're saying, isn't it? These idioms that we take for granted. Thank you so much, Mrs. M. Coffee's here. Saying that, like, how would you explain that to somebody who doesn't understand any English? If you like somebody, you hit it off with them.
Yeah. Something came up yesterday. I was talking with Luisa and Sidonio, and I said something I said, I never thought about that before, but that makes no sense.
Hmm.
So I explained it to him, and I wish I could remember what the phrase I used, but every language, every culture has those things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to learn them. Sometimes it don't make sense just based on the words that make up the phrase. It's all part of learning.
It is all part of it. It's the rules, and the more you think about them, the less they make sense often as well. So yeah, I think you're right. You have to just either suck it up or let go, whatever. Again, that's a weird expression, isn't it? You just have to. You just have to let go.
Do what?
Exactly. Oh, hold on a minute. Is this the Portuguese equivalent of possibly of peacefulness there? Sossegado. That sounds quite nice, doesn't it? A bit of sossegado with HP sauce on it. And talking of which, HP sauce. No, you can't ban HP, says Jackie the Humble Crafter. HP stands for Happy Princess, which is what I am, with a bottle of the aforesaid heavenly sauce and a loaf of bread. She just has HP sauce sandwiches by the sound of it there. That's a bit weird, quite frankly, there. And did you know, says Joel Denort, that HP sauce and Heinz 57 in the US are very similar? Oh, so there's actually a sauce called Heinz 57. It's not just their marketing thing. HP was originally produced in the UK, but now it's made by Heinz in the Netherlands. HP is browner, but both have that familiar tangy flavor, which I think is that from dates, or it's from fruit, isn't it? It's a fruity tanginess that you get with HP. But anyway, thank you for that HP intervention there. And yes, Carl, HP sandwich with no butter. Weird. I'm not sure if we want Jackie the Humble Crafter coming to Portugal with strange habits like that. We'll have to run that past the British ambassador, I'm afraid, Jackie the Humble Crafter. Right, what's been on your mind over the weekend or in the last few days since we last saw you, James?
Well, there was, as we talked a little bit about language last week, and it seems to be the primary topic I talk about when people want to talk about it with me. For some reason, I'm interested in language as I'm learning one. There were a few things that I thought might be helpful that I have figured out, not stuff I've been taught by teachers, but stuff that because of my mind, and I'll say, well, why is it that? And how does that come together? It's also what slows me down, but I think ultimately it will serve as a much larger database as I acquire more language. So I think it will pay off as I progress. But first, I wanted to share a little anecdote about language. I went to the Farmacia at Intermarché last Thursday, just needed to pick up a few things. And I began with my now well-practiced statement that I memorized before I got here and have used it consistently ever since. So that's one thing I would recommend. Learn how to say some form of, I don't speak much Portuguese. And I never assume that someone will speak English, ever. I haven't since I've been here. I always assume I need to know how to say this in Portuguese. Even knowing, and even when they talk back to me in English, it's for a while, and this is something else I would recommend, get over immediately changing to English if a Portuguese speaks to you in English. Otherwise, you're never going to learn how to engage back and forth. It took me a long time to get over that. We're so ready to jump into the comfort of the language we're familiar with. It's like, oh, English, okay. Now I can talk.
That was close.
I have to figure it all out. I might look like a fool. All the things that go along with risking speaking the other language. So at the Farmacia, I approached the woman.
Hold on a minute. Just say that one more time.
Farmacia.
Muito bem!
Obrigado!
Nice emphasis. Yes. The accents are your friend. Carry on.
Oh, absolutely. The accents are so helpful, and they feed into another piece I want to talk about in terms of pronunciation of vowels. Because most of the consonants have fairly consistent sounds, and then depending on combinations. But the vowels, most of them change depending on where they are in the word and what letters are followed by and all these other things that can make them very confusing. Anyway, at the Farmacia, I said, desculpa, só falo pouco de português. And I'm leaving it there. I used to say fala inglês, like, like, will you speak English now? But I just stopped with, I only speak a little Portuguese. And she looked at me and said, English? And I said, sim, muito bem, obrigado. And then so she spoke English with me. And then I because this is me trying to expand, I wanted to tell her that I needed a few things. So I started back in Portuguese. I said, preciso de três. And then she said, you can speak English. And I said, no, this is how I practice. So she said, okay. So she immediately got quiet. I said, preciso de três coisas. She said, okay, muito bem. And then I showed her my list and we moved on. But it's little small steps, little small phrases that if I didn't stop in that moment and say, how do I say I need three things? Well, I wouldn't learn it and I wouldn't practice it.
Very educational. And I had no idea that's how you ask for condoms here in Portugal. Or is that not what you were ordering there?
Well, it wasn't on my list, but
not those three things. Okay, sorry,
no.
Carry on.
No, so that is just a short anecdote about sharing the language. I shared one about being at the Centro de Saúde and the woman being kind of crusty with Luisa, and then Luisa said he doesn't speak Portuguese. And I said, I speak a little Portuguese in Portuguese. I said that, and immediately this grumpy, crusty woman smiled and energetically patted me on the head and was ready to help me. So
yes.
There is tremendous value in making that effort. So I always I encourage others because it encourages me. It reminds me, continue doing that. If they speak to you in English, continue trying in Portuguese. And if they say, no, you can speak English because they want to help and they want to accommodate, say, thank you. But I'm trying to practice. And I go, okay. And they'll let you practice. So
yes.
That was the anecdote. I also misstated something about the research that Mia Eshmerich cited in her course when I was on with Victor. The way to be able to acquire more language is in the listen first, without any concern about understanding. That's a big one for me. I have to actually go into my mindful, relaxed state and say, you don't have to understand anything at all. Just listen, because my mind is curious and I want to know, and then it interferes with listening. So just listen, then get the script for what you listen to, or not a translation, but the actual Portuguese, and read it while you listen, then go through it and translate the words you don't understand, you don't know, then listen to it again. That's it. And then let it go.
Okay.
And over time,
it's just picking up on the comprehension concept we were talking about last week, right?
Yeah, I call it running in the background if we're going to use technology. I mean, it does. Our brain runs stuff in the background.
Yes.
If we file it just keeps, and the next time it comes up, the next time you listen to that dialogue, you go, oh, I understand that and that and that. And a lot of it is the processing of the language. Another is familiarity with the situation. You've read it before. You've listened to it before. So now you know, oh, there's three people. They're having lunch. You begin to get the context more because you're familiar with it. And the context then adds more to the understanding. So I highly recommend that. Anything that you do, anything you're going to practice, listen first. If you don't have a translation, or not a translation, a script of it, then see if you can make one or find one or whatever. Mia provides it with her program, so it's very simple. Then find the words that you don't understand and translate them. So that word, and then listen again, and then let it go and come back again tomorrow. And it's amazing how much you acquire in a fairly brief period of time when you just do that repetition. I also use flashcards every day.
Okay, flashcards. Okay, we'll come on to those in just a moment. But a little bit more for those who aren't familiar with Mia Eshmerich. She is an extraordinary woman, ballet dancer, linguistics genius, I would say, and a rescuer of cats up there in Porto. How's she doing? It's been too long. We haven't spoken to her for ages, have we?
No.
Here in Australia. But it sounds like she's doing great. And what's your experience of her methods and more generally?
Well, I really appreciate it. One is that she's from Porto, but she teaches essentially Lisboan Portuguese. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, is that before I came here, I was hoping that maybe Portugal had the equivalent of what we call standard English in the United States, which is what we teach when we teach English. And speaking it is more or less how I speak it. And I thought, well, that'd be great. If Portugal has a standard Portuguese, then I want to learn that.
Yeah.
And as I asked the question, it's like, no, not really. And I said, but then I started hearing from 3 different people as I asked the question. They say, but in Lisboa, Lisboan Portuguese, if you speak that way, anyone who speaks Portuguese will understand you. I said, all right, that's the one I'm going to learn. So don't teach me don't teach me how they say things in Porto. Don't teach me how they say things in Braga. Don't teach me how they say things in the Azores. I don't care. I don't care about Brazil. I don't care about anything. I just want to know this one thing for now.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I believe that once I have that down, then I'll be able to, on my own, pick out and start hearing differences. But it's much simpler for me to focus on one way of doing it. And one of the things I see very helpful people try to do, especially expats like me, trying to help other people understand the language, is to say, oh, you can say this, or did you know this? And they start throwing in all this random information. It's like, I'm confused. It's like, no, just leave me on track. So that's my practice. Part of the reason I'm focusing on pronunciation, and again, this is all things I'm doing that are working for me and I think could be helpful for other people, which is why I'm sharing it, is that I don't want to learn how to say a word incorrectly. I'm still putting the emphasis on the Ajain words, on the Jain, because that's how I learned it, Garajain. It's like, no, it's not Garajain, it's Garajain. And so now every time I see the word, I go, Garajain. No, Garajain. It's kind of like you with Lagos or Lagos, right?
Yeah.
You get it in your head, you learn a certain way, and it becomes much more difficult to unlearn the old way and relearn the correct way. So
which tells you
it's
again
like,
something about how we learn in our brains, isn't it?
yes. Yeah, it'll stick. We're trying to learn. The brain says, oh, this is something I need to remember, and it'll work on remembering it. It's like, oh, I need to remember it different. Oh, now I got to switch gears, turn around, go backwards. It's like I got to do a 3-point turn in a narrow road.
Yep. On a neural
so
road.
That's why and I know you and I are kind of playful with it, but why I focus so much on pronunciation. And when I hear it wrong, again, I only remind others who have given me permission to remind myself. Like every time I remind someone else, I'm reminding me as well. Yes. So that's another reason I focus on pronunciation.
Well, you are our pronunciation monitor officially now after the last few weeks. So we'll rely on you for that. Thank you very much. Flashcards then. These have become quite the way, haven't they, in recent, learning of many things, but I think especially useful with languages. And are you making your own? Have you bought some? What's your approach?
Yeah, well, again, Mia's course is very complete, and I highly recommend it. What I love about it is it's a fairly nice hybrid between a predetermined curriculum that you can do online, or you get all your materials, they're available online at a self pace, and it lasts forever. So you can go back, you can repeat, you can review, you can come back 5 years from now and say, what was that thing about that? So that is one thing. Secondly, and it's may become more and more difficult for me, I don't know, I imagine her student numbers are going up and up and up because she's
I hope so. Yeah.
actively promoting her program on Facebook and other places. She has tons of short videos where you can learn stuff on the video, but it's also a promotion for her program. But she provides you with everything: the scripts, the translations, the pronunciations, the everything from A1 through B2. She claims, and I have yet to put this into practice because every time I get started, I stop. But she estimates that if you give it a concentrated effort, which means roughly an hour every day of actual study, that she says you'll be fluent in about 6 months through the B2 level. Now, when she does make clear that fluent doesn't mean like you and I are talking now. It means you'll be able to say what you want to say the way you want to say it. Not that you're going to be able to do it without thinking. There's going to still be work involved. But for me, it's like, okay, why do I keep putting that off? It's like, well, there's always something else I need to be doing. Like today, I'm going to get my residency renewal appointment. So get that done. I say, all right, once that's done, then the high energy drain of doing that, it's not so much being at the appointment, it's getting the appointment, going to the appointment, all that stuff. I like to focus on one thing at a time as much as possible. So when that's done, then it feels like, okay, I've got essentially now a 3-year break before I need to do anything more about being here in the country.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, then my plan is to devote the next 6 months to serious hour-a-day study just to see where I get in the program. And what I was going to say about Mia's program is that she provides you with the apps that she uses, and she recommends, well, not recommends, but she was using Anki, A-N-K-I, where you make your own cards. But by using it, she also makes stuff that you can transfer over to it. So you don't have to create all of your own content for your cards, which includes pronunciation. She has one that she actually says the words slow,
right.
regular,
that helps.
and slow again, so that you can hear the sounds, which is very helpful. So
well, if you want to get started, I've got a link there, an affiliate link to Mia's work. Nice to be reminded of Mia. I wasn't expecting to be talking about her, but yeah, we had some great conversations with Mia back in the day on the show. Jim White says Mia brings energy, enthusiasm, and competence. Fantastic. Quizlet is very good for making your own flashcards, says Pam as well. All of this, it all helps everybody. Thank you so much. We're all helping each other get over the line here, aren't we, basically? Fluent is a great word as well, isn't it? And when you unpacked it a little bit there, James, it means a flow, doesn't it? And that, to me, is the greatest clunk, isn't it, with the early learning or not of Portuguese, is that clunk where you feel like you can't go any further. And it must be lovely. Fluency in the sense of like, okay, well, I can keep talking. I'm not going to get stopped. I'm not going to be having this big psychological hurdle anymore. Portuguese language lessons have a series of pronunciation and listening masterclasses, which are excellent for learning the rules and practicing your pronunciation with feedback. Thanks, Pam, for that. Joao de Nort, James, I too like to focus on pronunciation. I dislike hearing myself when it doesn't match what I hear. My mind is forming a matrix of what sounds correct, and I work at forming sounds to match. Good work. Well done.
And when you listen, you learn things intuitively. You don't have to say, how is that pronounced? Or you'll hear someone else say something. Say, that doesn't sound right. Like that's what happened when I heard you say La gauche. I said, that doesn't sound right. Is that how you say it? And then, so I did the research. I looked. I said, wait a minute. No, there's no accent over that O. So there's nothing in this word that tells me I should emphasize the osh.
Yes.
It's 2 syllables. I should emphasize the first one, la gauche, right? So, but I only did that because I heard it and said, something doesn't sound right. So if you listen enough, you begin to hear things that just intuitively don't seem to sound right. And then you can go and find out.
Yep. Very good. Nubianet's here. Bon dia, y'all. Not the only American to be up at this time. Bob and Viv in America joining us in just a moment as well, about 5 minutes time. Very good of you two. I can only guess what time it might be in Florida right now, if that's where you are. Speaking of residency renewal, we got ours 2 weeks ago in Bragança. Congratulations. EI.
Good job.
And they went with you. Okay, so if you want to talk to Gilda's team. Well, I do that every Thursday evening on the Dream Team session, and we had a deep dive on visas last Thursday, which is available on the Expats Portugal YouTube channel, and you can get a discount on EI services through Expats Portugal membership as well. You can find them through our website. I'm quite confident in speaking Portuguese, says Pam, and understand almost everything, but I wouldn't say I'm fluent. There you go. That's interesting, isn't it? And I mean, you've got a bit of an aspirational moment, have you not, James, where you want to get to a level where you can have a kind of late night beer conversation and go into philosophical ideas? That would be your favored and ideal level of speaking Portuguese.
Yes, my long-term goal, which, if my estimations are correct, like in order to be able to talk like this in your native language, it takes 15 or 16 years. But I call it an intelligent conversation.
Yeah.
I want to be able to just relax and talk about things that are important to me, which are a lot about psychology and emotions and philosophy and history.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to do that comfortably. And so what helps me to be patient, it's like, if I'm speaking like a 15, 16-year-old in 8 years, I'm twice as fast as the curve.
Yeah.
And I think that's a reasonable goal for me to try to get there, but it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be a year from now. I look at all these people who speak English so well, and it's not their native language. And I go, oh man, I want to be able to talk like that. It's like, well, they've been doing it since they were 5 and they're 25 now.
Yes.
So they've been speaking this language, this second language, for 20 years. That's why they speak it so well. And they practice. I mean, they speak it a lot, so they learn it. So it's just relax. There's no rush. The only bar that is set that I haven't set for me is to be able to speak with an A2 efficiency by my 5-year residency.
Very
So
good.
Three
Good
years from now to get to A2 level. I don't think that's going to be a big challenge, but that's it.
Before you go, mate, well, good luck with that, with your residency renewal. Are all your ducks in a row? Presumably you're as prepared as you can be for such an event?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's little things that get worrisome. Unlike some of these other people that I highly admire for getting professional help, I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy. I say, well, wait a minute. They've got a list of the things I need. That's just documentation. I'll get that documentation together. They say that they don't conduct these appointments in English. I said, well, there's nothing I can do about that. I'll do the best I can with the Portuguese I have, and we'll work it out. I suspect that if I make the effort to go in speaking Portuguese, if the person that's helping me speaks English, that he or she will probably fairly quickly go into English to get it done, just because it's more efficient for them if they're good with the language. But I'm not going to make that assumption. It's like, okay, I'll bumble through it. My initial CEF appointment, Louisa went with me, and it actually put off the person who was helping me. Was a little put off that there was this Portuguese person talking on my behalf at my CEF appointment. It's like, oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah, she kind of looked over like, why are you talking? I'm dealing with this guy. And she was, it was fairly straightforward. Passport, atestado, bank account. Okay. It was fairly straightforward and simple, but anyway, I'm on my own this time, which will be great. I feel like I'll be able to manage it. Yeah.
Well,
I did want to spend just briefly, because one of the sounds I hear a lot, especially because you do most of the talking there, and that we're familiar with in English is OU, which OU in English has several different pronunciations. Ow, ooh. Anyway, there's a lot of ways we do it, but we tend to, when we see it like in Souza, for instance, the name Souza, we're used to saying it and pronouncing it Souza. John Philip Sousa, the great marching composer in the United States. And as Philomena said last time she was on, the OU combination is one of those that's pretty much always the same. Now, I always leave room that there might be an exception out there somewhere. But if you go with OU, you're going to be right 90% of the time. So it's O, like in the word dough. So when you see what we want to say duro, because we want to go ooh, oh, and it's just the opposite. It's o, ru. So it's the Doru region, not the Duro region. So OU is always going to be O. And then
Thank you for that.
with
That's a little bit
Lole,
of a hack. I think that's a lot of value in that little bit of a pronunciation tip there. Definitely earning the title and maintaining it this morning of pronunciation monitor for the
and
Gumper.
Kotu toothpaste, Kotu.
Thank you, James. Yes, Goto toothpaste there. Ours went smoothly. There you go, James. Ours went smoothly. Yep, the Seth Clark was also put off by having a lawyer. It worked out and warmed up. But that's interesting, isn't it? That they might just want to be dealing with you rather than having it sort of a different little edge there.
And I would guess that what they have learned along the way is that if you have someone helping you, it takes longer. And they're under tremendous pressure to get you in, get you out, make sure you got what you got. They can't miss anything. If someone's talking to them while they're checking your paperwork. So I imagine to them, it's just like, just give me the one person. We'll get done with this. We'll get them in and out. And this person's going to be talking to me.
Well, though, right? It must change the power balance a little bit psychologically.
Sure, sure. And if something's not going right, having someone there who can advocate for you is really great.
Yep. Well, good luck. Let us know. Obviously, you'll let us know how that goes next Monday. It is 31 minutes past, so we better bring Bob and Viv on because I imagine it's still a 1 minute late, even in America.
And I have to go because I have to go to my appointment. So
all right,
I'll sign off here.
Okay. All right, you go, and we'll bring Bob and Viv onto the screen. Take care, boss. All the best. And we'll do his visual memes in his absence then for James. He's off. In his hat, Bob and Viv. He's wearing the hat. He's going
wearing the hat.
Yes.
So how are you guys
doing? Where are you? What time is it?
4:31.
Oh, really? Bless you.
We're on the iPad. Does the sound okay?
It sounds better than when you're in Portugal.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's odd.
Well,
Isn't that incredible though? We're sitting in Lakeland, Florida, and talking to you.
5,000 miles away.
It's just amazing.
It is incredible, and thank you both though for being up at 4:30 in the morning. Is that how your body clocks are running, or have you made a special? No?
Not at all.
We had a 24.5-hour day getting here, and so it was very easy to adjust to this time because we were so exhausted. We just slept it off, and we're doing fine. So,
well, bless you for being up at 4:30 in the morning for us, and in your lovely matching peach tops as well.
We didn't mean to. I picked up the first shirt I came to, and he picked up the only shirt he had that wasn't black.
Yeah.
So it just turned up this way.
Yeah.
Well, you look fabulous. You look fabulous for 4:30 in the morning. What's it like then? I mean, this is a thing, isn't it? To be in Portugal, to be loving Portugal. And I hear quite a lot of people actually sometimes quite dreading going home. Not often because of the bureaucracy and travel arrangements and airport security and stuff. People want to see their families and get back for certain things. How has that been for you? How is it to be back in the United States?
Well, a quick note on the trip here. You mentioned airport security. We learned a couple things. Multiple connections traveling internationally may save you some money, but it certainly doesn't save you stress.
No.
Right.
And if you don't allow yourself 4 hours per connection, you're going to be running through airports. And I'm just too old to do that anymore.
Is that what happened? Would you mind telling us?
Yes, we made the connections.
Which route did you take?
Oh, we made the connections by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah, we made the mistake of going through Hopper. Some people love it. It was an absolute nightmare for us. We flew from Porto early in the morning, so we grabbed a motel overnight. John and Pam graciously took us over there the night before, and then we flew to Madrid, and then Madrid, Miami, Orlando. However, in Madrid,
which was our tightest connection.
Yeah, with an hour.
So far.
And it was long ways.
Yeah.
We're through security.
We can see the gate.
Yeah.
And they stopped Bob
for a random check, but they didn't tell me why they stopped.
But they didn't say why, and they made me leave the room. They said, "You leave," and it's like, where are you taking my husband?
And
yeah, right.
And I'm anxious, which you don't want to be when they pull you out of security, but I'm like, look, we got a tight connection. And I was really concerned about walking that far and getting there. And they very calmly, come with us, just come with us. Take your shoes off, empty your bag, empty your, pockets, all this stuff. And they swiped everything with a piece of paper looking for, I said, what was that for? Gunpowder.
They were looking for gunpowder.
So totally
So,
random.
But they wouldn't just say that so I could breathe. It's like, has he done something wrong? Is this have to do with his residency? What's going on?
Just
And I
gunpowder.
could see the gate, and they're over there twiddling their thumbs, waiting for us. And it's like, oh my god!
Yeah. So
Oh, so
anyway,
you had the walk of shame as well then. So everybody's
Yes,
waiting on the plane for the last
yeah,
two
because
people.
security then accompanied us to the plane, so they would wait for us.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, wow. Fantastic. And that's just the beginning of your journey then?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the journey getting here is no fun, but it's great to be home, to see everybody. We're staying with my aunt, and it's beautiful here. The weather is just perfect.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been great. We met some really good friends last night for dinner, and a friend we had been friends with online and worked with actually online, but never met in person. So we got to meet her yesterday because she happened to be in Florida
Yeah.
driving back to DC. So we met her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually our business coach, Michelle Goodman with simplebiz.ai. It was so good to meet
Yeah.
somebody like that you're working with closely,
Yeah.
and just and never
It
had
was nice.
anything but a screen conversation, so yeah. So the trip
It was like meeting you, Carl, the first time we met you. It was thrilling.
Yeah, well, I'm not AI, am I? You got to find out that I'm a real fallible
Yeah.
human being. Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
reassuring to know in this age of AI? Well, that's wonderful. And I think you are, people are really relating to what you're talking about this morning. 2 hops is doable, but never 3. And you're
Yeah.
probably going to be saying the same.
Oh.
Direct
Yes.
flights all the way for this chick, where possible as
Oh,
well.
we would have done a direct if we could have. It just wasn't possible. So.
Yeah, but we're definitely gonna approach it a little differently next time.
Yes.
And one of the things was going as we did through Hopper, like they changed the airlines changed one of the connections for the return trip to make it like 40 minutes to go from domestic to international
Yeah.
through
40 minutes.
security in
Charlotte.
Charlotte for the return. So we got that shifted. So anyway, it's been 2.5 years and almost, and we just
We got here. That's the important
Yeah,
thing. We
yeah.
got here.
So you haven't been home for 2.5 years, is that right?
No.
well, 2 years and
2
3
years
months.
and 3 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's that like? Because I think when you're away from your original home, you start having certain thoughts, don't you? About it? I mean, for a lot of people at the moment, let's face it, a lot of people are glad to be away in many ways. From they wouldn't have moved otherwise, would they? So you develop a kind of mindset of like, well, I'm glad I'm not there. But there must be reassuring things that come back to you that like fit like a glove, even after 2 years, where you think, oh, that's really nice, and I've missed that, and I didn't know I missed that. Have you had anything like that?
Yeah, really. Bob wanted me to take a walk, and I said, I will if we can go do it in Walmart.
So right back into the American way.
Yeah. And we needed a few things, that we had forgotten or we were just out of. And I said, well, we can pick that up when we get there. And so we went and walked our mile in Walmart.
Why don't they rename it Walkmart? And then people will be thinking they're exercising while they're in, which they are in a sense. So that was just like, putting in a very comfortable and favorite pair of old jogging bottoms.
It was, and nothing's changed. It's all the same. It's just more people.
Yeah,
lots more people in there, and the prices are outrageous.
Are
Prices are.
Yeah,
Oh my Lord.
we can tell they've really gone up here. Yeah,
We heard about it, but it was hard to believe until we saw it.
Yeah,
It's just.
But the funny thing about going to Walmart for her, it was better than for me. For me, it was just system overload. And I went to a Publix, a big supermarket, and it's like you walk into the cereal aisle and it seems like it's a block long. And I'm a lot of times we hear from Americans that are frustrated with what they can't find in Portugal, and the lack of selection. And I'm like, you know what? Now that I'm back here with all this, I kind of like that. I don't want that many choices. I don't need that many choices.
Yeah.
Well, so these are all the subtle messages and realizations then of being back in the old place. Incredible. Let's have a look at some photos, because you very thoughtfully sent us some photos as well of where you've been. It does look lovely there. Sarah wants you to bring some sunshine back with you. That was
there. It is. Yep,
yeah.
We're bringing a whole suitcase back.
Oh, thank you. And trees that you might not see in Portugal, I guess, as well. Some of the landscape you might have forgotten about.
Spanish moss. Yeah.
It's an oak tree with Spanish moss in it.
Is that a Floridian thing?
Yes.
Yeah, superb. And what sort of creature is this on the golf course then? Is that an egret of some sort?
They're egrets.
Yeah.
And herons, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what that one was because it was black. It was kind of like an egret, but black. Most of them are snowy or white. But
it's probably a heron. The gray and black are herons. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's one of the pictures I didn't send you was the city block across intersection. I'm sitting there and I am a huge fan of roundabouts. The way traffic flows, I just love that dance in the roundabout. Now that, I mean, initially when we moved, she had to teach me, you can go around again, Bob. You can. Yeah.
He was so freaked out if he would miss a
turn,
which exit he was supposed to get out. And it's like, honey, just go around again. I get you the second time. It's okay.
And so now I'm good with that.
What did you just say? Like they should just put a roundabout in here. This would be so much better.
Yes,
you call them rotaries.
Roundabout would take up so much less space.
And this thing, I mean, I'm sitting there facing the sun at this, like I say, I mean, the street light was way over there. And
huge.
And I'm trying to see how far out I had to go to make the left-hand turn, because the stripes were worn. They have stripes to tell you, kind of. And where am I going over there? And it's
he's lived in small towns most of his life, so he's not used to this.
That's true.
And you know what? Something else I'm noticing though, Viv, is Bob talking more American as well? Has he got more of an American accent?
I think he does. Yeah.
Is that also happening? When I go, should I go back to England? Am I going to be like, "God blimey, governor"? Is that what happens?
I get more Southern.
I was going to say
I'm here, and I'm talking to my aunt. I get much more Southern.
Yes.
So it's just you fall back into your old habits.
Yeah, very quickly.
Very interesting to hear all of this, and because these are the things that you find out by actually being there rather than what you think will happen.
Yes.
The other important thing, of course, is that I suspected there might have been a diplomatic outrage on arrival, Viv, and the orange police might have been there to say, "What was that you were saying about oranges in Portugal? There you are in Florida." And I think maybe I should keep my voice down, but you were saying it was one of the best oranges you'd ever had was in Portugal, right? And there you are.
It was hands down. That was the best orange I've ever had. It was sweet. It was just the right amount of juice.
Yeah.
It was the right texture. It was perfect. It was a perfect orange.
Right.
And Florida needs to up their game.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have to say.
Taking it
if they want
the heart of orange production,
then they need to grow one like that.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. All right. Yeah. Well, there's another little sort of business opportunity. Taking oranges to Florida. Who would have thought that could be possible? Right. I've got a minute of video to share with you as well. And we'll talk more about this. I think it's fascinating to hear your real experience and response to being back in the old place there after a couple of years. And this is what a lot of people I think will face, and it will be that comparison between what they thought might happen when they went home and what actually happened. So let's have a little bit more of a video look about of where you are at the moment.
Okay, well, We're back in the United States after 2 years and 2 months living in Portugal. Here's just one of the things that we miss. So we're at Canaveral National Seashore. And we thought, oh, this would be kind of fun. We'll stop in here and we'll run out to the seashore because we're close. However, we are so used to Portugal having free things that it never occurred to us that it might cost $25 a vehicle to get in. Senior pass, 20. We can get in for 20. But Viv already has a lifetime pass. So, yeah, that's the way it is.
So another little shock there. You've got used to the Portuguese culture.
Yes.
I mean, for a couple of things. I mean, yeah, $25 to get into nature. I mean, that's one thing.
Yes.
Were people looking and staring at you? You were not in a vehicle at that point, Bob. What were you thinking walking around in America on people don't do that, do they?
No, but then I stuff like that just doesn't bother me anymore. You know, so it was.
We only had about an hour, and I said,
Yeah.
I'm not paying $25 to go in there for an hour and see the ocean. This should be free. It's a state park.
Yeah, no, it's a federal park.
But federal park. It was a federal park.
Even so, right? I mean, you have got used to the idea of nature being free by the sound of it.
Yes.
Well, and not only that, historical sites, and I mean, so much of everything is free or just a couple euros. Yeah. And one of the things, I mean, we were impressed with that when we got there. Yes, Sarah Taylor, it was $15 for pedestrians
to walk in.
And the I don't know how much the audio, we couldn't hear the audio here, but she has a forever pass for national parks here in the US, but she didn't have it
with me. We weren't planning to go over there.
Thinking about that way. Why would you be carrying?
It was a spur of the moment thing. We didn't plan to go over there, and so I think I don't even know if I brought it on the trip.
So anyway, it was just a real eye opener. But I mean, that's we've always talked about since arriving in Portugal how we enjoy the free concerts or the minimal cost concerts and the cultural events that are free constantly all the time. Ponte De Lima does an amazing job of events. And
it makes it so everyone can participate.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I appreciate that. And here everything is so expensive.
Yeah.
So
well, there are wars to fund. T-Duck, with a maybe not so tongue in cheek, but I wonder what percentage of that $15 goes to Ukraine.
Quite a sum. Yes.
Bob and Viv have a wonderful time. But you do get, I mean, for your $15, you do get lunch, don't you? Tell me you get lunch.
No.
Glass of wine? Glass of wine.
Yeah.
You get nothing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You got a t-shirt. You know, can you imagine if you're in Ponte De Lima and you go to an event that's 15 euros, you're going to come away with a goodie bag with a t-shirt in it, aren't you? You're going to have food, glass of wine. That's an expensive day out in Portugal, isn't it? 15
right.
Yeah.
No, then you probably get in there and have to pay $4 for a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
So a nice little contrast there.
In Ponte De Lima, we went to a dancercise type thing on a Sunday morning downtown one day, and we're immediately handed a t-shirt upon arrival, and
a bottle of water.
Yeah. No charge for any of it, you know. So obviously you're paying for it with your VAT and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time,
they do it.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful.
Yep, very good. Okay, and is this informing then? And presumably, you know, like travel broadens the mind. You get a different perspective. Is this having an effect on your business in helping people move to Portugal? Do you think? Have you got new eyes from that point of view?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do, and it's even opening our eyes to think. Well, in Portugal, we get, you know, there's this and this and this, and all of this offsets all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so much more value for money there.
Yeah.
If that's your main
If that's what you're after.
reason for going there, it is much better value for money.
Yeah.
And here, I don't know how anyone's going to keep living here. I mean, bacon, just a regular pack of bacon has gone from $3 to $12
I mean,
in the
that's
2 years.
insane,
In the 2
isn't it?
years we've been gone.
Yeah.
And eggs are up to $6 to $8 a dozen.
Yeah.
So
It's insane.
yeah.
So it was quite useful for us to be talking about having one meal a day then.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
I highly recommend
That's
it.
where we started, yeah.
It
But maybe
is.
that's where the drive for 1 meal a day is coming from. It's the only blooming thing people can afford right now.
Yeah.
We may have to go to one every other day.
I mean, I talk about boiled frog. There's this idea, isn't there, that not that I recommend anyone tries this at home, but if you
No.
if you boil a frog, it goes from cold water to hot water, just sits there and it doesn't have a perceivable reaction to what's going on and boils to death. I mean, this is what happens with citizens as well, it would seem, economically.
Yes.
And by coming out of the culture and going back, you're getting that very stark contrast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas people living it every day, just a few more cents, and before you know it, it's gone up 4 times in 2 years, you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm astounded that people here aren't more upset about it. It's the roads are full of brand new cars. The malls are full of people. It's like Christmas time all the time now.
Is it?
And they're buying and it's like, I want to know what you do for a living.
Yeah. Credit. I mean, that's it. Humans are, I think, many humans are essentially optimistic, and we just keep going, don't we? Despite these
they just keep going.
Yeah.
And
you gotta love human beings on that basis, that they just keep going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it also gives a real appreciation for the struggle that the Portuguese people have on their salary with expenses as well.
Going
It's same thing there. The common question: how are these families surviving?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the world she's a changing. So
yeah, absolutely right. Best thing in the US, says John, free refills on coffee and water everywhere.
Yes, that's true. I drank about a gallon of sweet tea yesterday at breakfast, and they just kept filling my glass up.
Good. But Viv, is the bacon amazing at $12?
It's amazing. It's so amazing.
Well worth it as it turns.
Yes.
For the price of one coffee in the US, I can get coffee in Lisbon for a week. I mean, there's another way of doing it as well.
That's true.
So, any other observations then when it comes to Portugal Pathfinders? I mean, this is a bit of a shot in the arm, a bit of a change of perspective, to change of context. Sounds like it's going to be very informative for your business.
It will be. Yeah, it will be. Well, this is giving us a real look at America as it is now, as opposed to the way it was when we left.
And it's definitely changed.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
it's a good update. Yeah, definitely.
So it will help us in knowing what people are dealing with here, so we can show them better the contrast in Portugal.
And I think one of the other things is, and we were talking about it some yesterday, it's also giving us a chance to step back from daily life. There is something to be said about knowing the language, and I appreciated what James was saying. And we have decided we are going to focus much more on the Portuguese language
this year.
We've had so much fun in Portugal that we literally haven't made the time to really dig in
and study, but we're going to this year.
And so there is that mental work factor of all of a sudden we can understand everything, and if we need something we don't have to think about how to ask it, that kind of thing. But it's pulling us away from the daily routine, such as it is. Not the only routine things, walking guests, but but beyond that, so that we can do some more perspective planning while we're here. We got a notebook with us. We're taking some notes. We're going to do some more video stuff. We took a photography class. The only reason we were at the mall yesterday was because that's where the Apple store was.
Yeah.
And they had a free photography workshop for Apple iPhones. And
So we went.
We went.
Yeah.
And
I love that about America. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always something you can do
Yeah.
that's educational or fun or
yeah.
something. We're spoiled for choice, but I don't think it's doing the American people any good to be this spoiled for choice.
Yeah, right. Interesting perspectives. Incredible. Viv, did you find the spices you couldn't find in Portugal?
I haven't looked yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're here.
Been to a
That's on the
grocery
list.
store.
Bob, count how many pickups you see on the motorways. Here it's maybe one Ford Ranger per day. Are you enjoying seeing the old vehicles, Bob?
Well,
Oh yes.
yeah. Our good friend Oscar Oliveira in Ponte De Lima, the first day out, I was sending him pictures. He dreams of an F-150, and so and so I was sending him pictures of the pickups, big four-wheel drives,
They've got
lifted,
so big.
lifted. You look over at them, and you're looking at the middle of their door. Their window is above your roof.
They're so huge.
And they're driving in traffic, and they've got tires that are 18 inches wide on them. And you can tell by the looks of a lot of them, they never go off road.
So much. They
all,
the shopping mall,
show.
right?
They're clean and shiny.
It's all show.
Yeah.
You know. I even had a friend in Colorado that had a Suburban like that. I envied his suspension. I went off road, so I talked to him about it once. He says, "I've never had an off road. It just looks good."
Wow. Well, there you go. Another insight into the culture there. Look, we had a flicker here and in San Martino, so I thought we might be plunged into darkness. It's happened to Suze, Central Portugal power outage here, watching on my iPhone. And Sarah, I took my driver's test with a Ford 150. How about that? Parallel park. That's sucker 2. And sounds like you're in Texas with all the trucks. Have you seen any semis? Who doesn't like a semi first thing in the morning, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Lots of semis. There's lots of semis here.
That was an education.
Right. Meanwhile,
that was one I'd never heard.
You're welcome. Back in Portugal, we were talking about how Portuguese people cope in the economy here. This thanks to Antonio Barbosa. Recent budget cuts for the GNR have just been announced, and they've downgraded their canines from German Shepherds to Chihuahuas. So that's what's going on back home, in case you're wondering. Let's do some dad jokes before you go, because you should have a well-earned kip now. Thank you so much for getting up at 4:30 in the morning for us. Really appreciate it. There's a few.
Good to see you.
Yeah. It's so lovely to check in with you. Thanks for doing that.
Well, appreciate it. Yeah.
I've got all sorts of memes at the moment that I want to share with you this morning. I was hoping to age like a fine wine. We must put this in the Wine Ninja group. We'll be drinking wine next Monday evening, but I sort of feel more like an avocado. Yeah, what is it with avocados? Although we have, thanks to Shannon and Barry, we've got bags full of avocados back here. And presumably in Florida, you can enjoy a nice juicy avocado over there as well.
Great avocados, yes. And they're called alligator pears here.
Well, funny enough, James very helpfully has shared this with us. For those of you who don't know the difference between a crocodile and an alligator, the crocodile is the one next to the alligator there. Again,
right.
Very welcome with that.
The alligator's on the left.
Okay, thank you. Today, look at this. This might be useful as well with that comparison, going back to the old place. Today, I remember how much I used to dream of where I am now. We can forget this, can't we? And I guess being in America, you're seeing what you've done through a different lens since you've been in Portugal as well. Is that true? Has it made you great?
Very much. Yes.
Well, and just going back to the journey, how when the opportunity came up from a YouTube broadcast, it's like we'd never talked about living in Europe, but we both had a dream of living in Europe since we were young. And so yeah, when people say living the dream, we're living it. We're in a relationship we enjoy, and we're living in Portugal.
Beautiful, absolutely wonderful. In fact, so you deserve a rainbow for that. That's Pete's rainbow this morning, a Lobo, to go, and some Gumper dust.
Oh yes,
there you go. James is with us as well. What is a 4-letter word with a small laugh in the middle? It really is. That's so true. What? Think about it. WHAT there, and. This was his mindful meme before we go to the dad jokes in conclusion. Not only does my mind wander, sometimes it walks off completely. Yeah, it can happen. can't it?
Daily.
Good for you.
Daily.
Really nice place for you to do that at the moment there in Florida in that sunshine. Not so deep thought then from John. When we were young, we would sneak out to go to parties. Now that we're old, we sneak out of parties to go home. Yeah, I've been doing that for a little while now. Good luck, Sarah, with your camera visit this morning about the house. And then the T-Duck dad jokes to finish with this morning. Oh, no, hold on. Before we go there, mindful moment from James is why we fight. I think we fight because too many people are not standing up saying, I'm not doing this anymore. Wow. Thank you very much from
Ben,
Colonel.
that's a good thought to hold. Yes.
It's not bad at all, is it? So thanks for that, James. Not a cowboy hat. And good luck to you at Kashgaish with your renewal there. Mindful dad joke. Why did the Electron, Bob and Viv, show up to the mindfulness class? It had
negative energy all the time.
Oh, my goodness. We did this one already, but there you go. Why is every C in Pacific Ocean pronounced differently? It is. If you think Portuguese is difficult, just try English. And according to
it's because it's English. That's why.
Because it's English. That's right. According to the BMI chart, I'm too short. Very good.
Oh, my. Yeah. Oh, my.
And carrots might help your eyesight, but they'll never double it like wine does as well. And how much is a decent bottle of wine in Florida right now?
No idea.
I haven't been to
had
any wine since I've been here.
No.
Really?
I've been drinking margaritas.
Oh, very good.
No
classy. Excellent. I had a Ford 150 finally, says Joao de Norte, before coming to Portugal. I also did take it off road on occasion by necessity. Standard suspension package is absolute rubbish, says Joao de Norte there. And the tree guy here drives a VW pickup. He said he'd like a Dodge, but they don't come with a diesel engine here. So, Bob and Viv, have some sleep. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you staying up for us, and have a lovely time there. And we look forward to seeing you again. And next time we see you, you'll be back here in Portugal, won't you?
No, we'll still be here. So
seriously? Wow. Extended
in March,
trip.
we'll still be here. Then we'll be home April 3rd.
Yeah.
Oh, so can we have another American report? Because that'll be interesting.
Yes, and much more in depth after, because we'll have been here a month by then.
We're here in Florida, then Colorado, then Iowa, my family,
and then back
to Florida, and then home. So
we'll have a big update.
Why the trip? We'll keep sending the messages. Love seeing your photos and your reflections. Look at that wine that T-Duck used to buy in Texas, $7.99. It's 3 times again, like the bacon, isn't it? Pretty much. 2 weeks
like
ago,
the bacon.
we paid
Like everything.
Incredible.
3 times as much.
Where's this all going to go, we wonder? So we might find out with you when we speak to you again in a month's time. Have a beautiful day. And we will look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. Bob and Viv, ciao, everybody. Take care. Bye for now.